So now the next battle is Neo taking on Bloodedge, a match that we've seen before and we're probably going to see many times again later. What the fuck is that? Wait a minute. Oh, that's a Thavas unit. Okay. Wave third or more, put this unit to the soul when your Vanguard attacks. And you have a grade 3 or greater with Thavas in its name. Pay the cost if you do so at your deck for up to 1. Grade 3 with Thavas in its name. Call it. Shuffle your deck, and at the end of the turn, returns to your hand. Oh, okay, I've seen this before. I've seen that unit before. I haven't seen it in use before, but I've seen it before. Which means that Edge is using a Thavas build, and that's a brawler. So Neo is using Big Bang. Yep, Neo is using Big Bang. So Chatra 11k on the rear guard side, attacking with that first. If Edge doesn't want a draw, doesn't want Neo to draw, then he's got to guard that. And if he doesn't want to lose his starter, he has to guard the Vanguard as well. But since he's attacking a rear, he can't even get that skill off. I can only assume that Neo wants an early start at taking away as much of Edge's field as possible. After all, these two do know each other well, so he probably just figures that that's the best way for him to deal with this match. And he would not be wrong. And Neo is deciding not to rise to grade 3. We can only assume why, but I'm hoping for the sake of everything involved that it's because he's actually misriding. But he should have G-assisted in that case. And keeping Bloodedge away from grade 3 now won't help him. Because Edge still has Twin Drive. So that was the critical that gives 5k to a particular unit and a draw by playing in the soul when that unit as the Vanguard attacks. All of the G set units have that now, or are in the works of getting it. And Neo loses the Big Bang. Almost loses Chatra, but guards it. And Neo finally decides I'd better G-assist. Given his hand, he actually could have done it last turn, gotten that Big Bang NeoBuster right there, and the resulting stride could have gotten his hand back. I can't imagine why he waited so long. But he did give Edge a chance to get quite a large advantage over him for it. So NeoBuster is going to stride now. We saw he had Mighty Bolt. Only 3 cards in hand, and if he doesn't call anything else, then he'll be able to get 6. He could call Rising Phoenix to Soul Blast his 2 units and draw a card, which would actually be pretty good for him since he runs a Legion deck anyway. Would help him out for it later. But at the same time, the discard for Stride gave him Legion. If he really wanted to, he could have just dropped the Rising Phoenix, uh, dropped the two and drawn one card, and then Legion by putting back the two heals, the crit, and I would guess Slash Buster, because between Slash Buster and Mighty Bolt, Slash Buster is the one you'd rather have in the deck, so that you run the risk of playing it later either as a rear guard while you have a Big Bang Vanguard, or or as a mate for Big Bang Buster. So now Edge has the ability to stride, drops a perfect guard as well as a grade 2. What does the grade 2 do? When this unit is placed on rear guard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Thavas, you can pay the cost. If you do, this unit gains plus 2k, and at the end of about this unit attacks, it can stand. Okay, so he had another one in his hand and only one damage, so that's why he did that to begin with. Thavas doesn't get a Generation Break 3, but he does get the On Stride skill of Thavas if he chooses to do that. Okay, so I can only assume he's going to attack first. First is Battle Siren, the Vanguard. Get a restand from it. Yep. He might even attack Vanguard second, but I'm not sure yet. Oh. Yep. So Vanguard's attacking third. Saberflow will attack fourth. Melina can attack, but it doesn't get its skill, so we're probably just going to boost with it. Melina's skill takes a counterblast in order to activate, so we wouldn't be able to get it in this sense. Saberflow's ability, retiring it to draw 2. And also, Seishin dies because 4th battle. Neo already has 3 heals out of his deck, and he's behind in damage. He's going to have to Legion. So now NeoBuster is without a field. Not exactly what you would expect from a Big Bang from Narukami. You'd more expect for Narukami to be doing this rather than being on the receiving end of it. But this is just the power of Thavas. Probably the least used of what came from the clan booster, in my opinion. But its competition in terms of other things that have been used are... Well, let's face it, we have Thavas, Blue Storm, 2 kinds of Blue Storm, Legion and Maelstrom. We have Blue Wave, and we have Ripple. And I would say Blue Storm Legion probably has the least, but if you lump it in with Maelstrom, then yeah, I would say Thavas is used less. It's kind of sad because Thavas actually is really good. Neo Legion and just attacked, couldn't do anything more than that. He did put back all of his heals and another unit. All of his heals in Slash Buster. The Slash Buster that he Soul Blast in order to do Turbo Skill. Makes sense. Always want to have as many mates in your deck as possible when you Legion to make sure that you don't miss. And now we have Lambros. Battle Siren lost her ability, so she can't do that. But that makes up for it. Big Bang Knuckle Buster is in Legion, so I mean is at Crossride, so it's 13k with the trigger, it's at 18. Two stands and both gain 10,000. So 19 and 21. Both powerful enough to actually hit. No? No? Edge decides to bank it all on one powerful attack rather than two weaker attacks. 28, that's already one pass, and that's a 3. And Edge only gets 1. He did get a perfect guard, though. NeoBuster with no reason to guard the rear guard attack, although it does put him at 5. The damage difference is 5 to 2. And now we have a situation where the fact that he did lose 2 car. Keep in mind, Neo did lose 2 units, 2 G units from using G Assist. And he had to flip one for Big Bang Turbo. He only has 4 left in the entire deck. And the fact that he's using Big Bang Turbo now tells me that the last one left is probably Conquest, because he has no reason to not use even one Conquest. And Big Bang Knuckle Turbo does indeed have the ability to wipe out the entire field in one single attack. Yep, he uses 3 Big Bang Turbos in the deck, so I'm guessing it's 3 Turbos, 1 Madoo, 1 Zorus. No, 2 Madoo, 3 Big Bang Turbo, 1 Zorus, and 2 Conquest. So Edge takes 1 attack, Neo heals, and Edge guards the other one so that Neo doesn't have the ability to counterblast 1 and check his top 5 for grade 3, and potentially use that for Big Bang Knuckle skills. So this time the Generation Break 3 ability of Commander Thavas is actually a thing. So what it does is when it attacks the Vanguard, it can choose 3 units and the opponent picks 1 and retires it. Sounds like the exact same thing that normal Thavas does, because it is. But the fact that you get the ability to do that twice means a lot. Of course, we can't forget his base ability that he can counterblast one, that he can flip a copy of it, give 1 unit give 1 unit plus 5,000, and it has the ability to attack from even from the back row. Wait, what did he do? I think he tried to give 5,000 power to the Battle Siren and give Thavas the skill to attack from the back row, but that's not how that works. the unit that gets the plus 5k gains the ability to attack from the back row. So you can't actually split those skills between one or another. So Neo perfect guards the Vanguard, doesn't want to see a critical trigger. A draw trigger appears though. Third attack is 16 to the Vanguard. Neo takes it. A stand happens, and now it's 20, so it takes a 10k shield just to block. And the last attack from High Tide Sniper with a Soul Blast of 1, it will be a 19k attack, something that does force Neo to guard. If he doesn't want the match to end here and now. Of course, it is only a 5k guard. No, it's a 10k guard, I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought it was only a 5k. I think I assumed that Neo triggered damage triggered by now. But no, that's not the case. So unless he has two 5ks or a 10k shield, Neo loses right here. Decides to drop a quintet wall. Loses a critical trigger. Two critical triggers, one of which was going to be in the twin drive check. Or triple check, depending on what he does at this turn. One thing to keep in mind well, two things to keep in mind is one, Edge is still, even now, only at 3 damage. And there's the Conquest. The other thing is, he does have a perfect guard from 2 turns ago that he didn't use last turn because he could afford the damage. If he has any reason to believe that NeoBuster will double critical, he has the ability to guard. Conquest uses its ability, plus 5k, to the Vanguard and killing one rear. He can't. Edge can perfect guard right now. That's exactly what he's doing. Gets an unflip because there's another in there from before. Heal trigger. That was the second check, so even if Edge had decided to no guard, he still would have survived. So at this point, the opposite's Generation Break 2 is actually a possible thing. When it attacks on the 4th battle, the Vanguard, it gains 1 critical and the opponent loses the ability to guard with zeros. So if he feels like he can get 4 battles, and more importantly, if he can get 4 battles, two of them won't do anything, but he's going to get 4 battles. So we can make this last attack 23k, and Neo won't be able to guard with grade 0. So I would say at that point, without a perfect guard, Neo would probably be done, lost. And he did have a perfect guard. At this point, NeoBuster is actually out of stride units because of G-Assist. If not for that, he'd be able to do one more Big Bang Knuckle. One more Big Bang Knuckle Turbo. And he'd be able to use the last card he has in Soul to retire all of Bloodedge's field, but to be honest, that wouldn't exactly help. But it looks like he's about to attack all of Bloodedge's field at once anyway. I was just about to say that the best thing he could do is use all 4 attacks on rear guards and save the vanguard attacks for slash dragon slash buster. So Edge no guards everything. Big Bang slash Buster and slash Dragon both are going to be at 21 from this. And that critical trigger means that Edge has to guard something. Takes the rear that doesn't have 2 critical. And has 2 10k shields for the one that does. Looks like this also uses the unit that gives resist to the entire front row. And it looks like we're going to get another stride from Edge. Strides into the Marine General of Heavenly Silk. On Counterblast 1, on the 3rd battle, it has the ability to retire a unit. It looks like Edge's plan is to use the first 2 attacks to attack rear guards, and then on the 3rd battle, if Neo had decided to guard one of them, he would have just counterblasted to kill it anyway. We know that Neo has a 10k and a 5k in hand. Depending on what the other unit is, he either can't guard or has to 1 pass. I think at this point, NeoBuster is weighing his options on whether he wants to no guard or 1 pass. Counting his heal triggers. 1 there. Another 1 there. Okay, so he had another 10k. So that's a 2 pass. But Edge did get rid of Neo's entire hand. Very important for this turn because Neo just has the Vanguard attack. It's 22k though. But Edge had 1 perfect guard ready for it. His Twin Drive could actually decide the match one way or another. Perfect guard came out, which means Lambros's generation break really doesn't mean anything. The best thing that Bloodedge can do is to just try to get as many attacks on the field as possible. And it looks like that's exactly what he's decided to do. Even though everything but the Vanguard takes a 5k block, it's still 5k block that Neo has to use. He has to 5k block one, 5k block another. He actually doesn't have enough hand to do it all. He has to take this attack. Otherwise, he can't guard the Vanguard. And the Vanguard is going to have 2 critical. So he has to take this one and hope for a heal trigger. And he didn't get it. Edge takes this one. Neo had 3 cards left in deck, and there was a heal trigger still in there. So we're gonna move on to the third game, and this is my fight.